Today on the Rock Feed podcast, we're joined by a very special guest, Will Ramos of Lorna Shore, one of the fastest rising metal bands in the world. They have a brand new record coming out very soon called I Feel the Ever Black Festering Within Me, releasing on September 12th. And this comes after the band's critically acclaimed record, Pain Remains. Will, thank you so much for being here, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm stoked to be here.
So I want to go back to the beginning because you've had such an impact on heavy music, and I like to talk to people about their influences, and it's amazing to see how far you've come, and I really think this is going to be a breakout record for you guys, seeing how well these new singles have been performing. And so I want to ask, like, what was some of the music that you grew up listening to at home?
I used to listen to a lot of rap as a kid. That's where I started. I feel like that's the whole reason I even started freaking cursing in the first place, is listening to Eminem when you're like a little kid, and then somehow it evolved into like Ozzy Osbourne, Guns N' Roses, like a classic rock world in like middle school and then like by that point, like I was already playing a lot of guitar. I love playing guitar. I was not my first instrument, but one of my first instruments. And I met this dude who was just like, bro, you got to listen to you like playing guitar, bro. You got to listen to Lamb of God or like Bullet for My Valentine. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. That sounds interesting. And he got like a whole list of shit. I remember I think I was literally like 14, 15 years old. My boy's writing down a list of all these bands. He's like, dude, you got to check out this band, check out this band. I'm going to write up a whole LimeWire.
Let's go.
Torrent play. Yeah, dude. So you already know I'm on LimeWire. I'm like, torrent that one. Let's get that discography. Let's get that discography. Listen, for all the people that are listening, torrenting was the shit back in the day. We know it's frowned upon now, but when you're 14, you got to listen to music somehow. I wouldn't be here if not for it. So thank God for that. That being said, we were listening to a lot of Bullet for My Valentine, Lamb of God, Suicide Silence. I don't even know if you know this one, Beneath the Sky. Didn't think so. No, most people don't. It was like they had this one song. I think it was the first screaming song I ever heard in my life. It was called 7861. I was like, this shit is so heavy. Realistically, looking back at it, it didn't withstand the test of time so well. But, I'm 14, so I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard, bro. Honestly, it's going to sound crazy. My boys loved Whitechapel, but for me, I was like, this is too heavy, dude, which is crazy now when you look at everything in the grand scheme of things. But there's like stepping stones to metal. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go from, people do. They go from like, I've never listened to metal in my life to I'm listening to Infant Annihilator now. Let's go. That wasn't me. And I don't think that's most people either. So those are the stepping stones. A lot of Infant Annihilator for sure. Getting after we have already been listening to Lamb of God and like all this good shit.
What was that? Infant Annihilator had some of the funniest music videos I think I've ever seen.
It's the best, bro. It's classic. They're not trying to be anything other than themselves. And I'm like,
love it. So funny. And so was it like Lamb of God, like Ashes of the Wake?
That's right. Yep. They put me on to that. First of all, that whole album, absolutely spec.
Instant classic, bro.
Every single song slaps. There was a lot of that. It was which one is Redneck on? Is it that Sacrament, dude.
Walk With Me in Hell. Like,
I remember when I first learned how to play that on the guitar. I was like, I am dope. Let's go. Good times, bro. You're so young. You're just. That's Kill Switch Engage, dude. Come on.
That was everything for me. That's one of my all-time favorites.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. I mean, there's so many. I feel like when I was first getting into music, you spend so much time just going on YouTube. Ooh, what the hell is that? Ooh, right. What the hell is this? Let's see if I like that. That's how I found In Flames. They're still to this day one of my favorite bands ever. And as you get older, I guess, I don't know what happens. You just slowly stop reaching out to finding new music. You just kind of hone in on the shit that you like. But I don't know. You get surprised sometimes. You find some new bands that are coming out.
I mean, a lot of people dog Spotify, but I mean, man, the way that algorithm works, I'm constantly finding shit that I'm like, who the is this? And
Throne? You ever heard
yeah,
of Throne? I found them on Spotify. I was like, dude, this is awesome, dude. What the fuck is
they're
going
crazy good. I found them the exact same way. They came up in like my little like neck play next thing, and they're like they have a song called On the Verge, and it's just like, oh, them through a wall.
Bro, we just saw them live on this last festival run, and I was like, they're killing it.
I gotta see them.
They were so sick. That song was so sick.
Yep, that shit. I remember it has that little sample in the beginning. It's just like right as soon as it drops.
I don't even know what the hell they're saying, but it
Yeah, and then it's
sounds like that.
so what was there a band that first made you like, look, I gotta, for me, like Limp Bizkit, the first time I heard them, I was like, holy shit, I'm obsessed with rock now. Was there a band for you that maybe inspired you to become a professional musician and want to chase this dream?
Honestly, I think it was, if there was a time, it was probably during Warp Tour 2012 or some shit like that. I don't remember who we saw. If it was who was it? It was, I think it was the Ghost Inside
Wow.
or Gideon. It was like one of those like hardcore bands that they just played. They were playing, and everybody was going crazy, dude. I was like, this is so dope. Everybody's feeling the energy. And then you look up and you see the vocalist, and the dude's just smiling. Like he's on stage smiling, and he's not trying to do anything. He's not trying to be anybody else. He's just feeling the moment, and he's having a good time, and he's like he's feeling it. And when I saw that emotion, I was just like, that has to feel really good. Like I know it does. It's you're up there doing the thing that you want to do. Everybody's responding the way you want them to respond. You're seeing them have a good time, and you're just so full of this feeling. You're just like, I gotta smile. Like I'm not trying to be all tough guy, that everybody's always trying to be on stage. It's just like, I'm feeling human. I'm gonna smile. This is a good time. I was like, that is the most human shit I've ever seen, and it was just like, for me, so beautiful, as corny as that sounds. And it was just like, honestly, if I could feel that some way, and that's what made me even like want to start doing vocals more. I was like, I'm watching this guy having a great time. He's screaming his brains out. He's smiling. It's the crowd is loving it. I'm like, if I can do that, I would be so happy. And I guess in a way we've gotten there a little bit. But
Bro, I love how passionate you are about this, and I can tell like you're a genuine fan of this music as well, which is so special to see. Have you met any of the guys in the Ghost Inside? They would be so stoked to hear this.
yes, actually, I never told them though. We one of the, so all these festival runs that you do in Europe, there's 2 sessions of them usually. It's usually August and July or June. I don't know. It's one of those things. They blend over into certain months. But it's like, if you're on one, usually you see the same band every 2 or 3 festivals, because you're all just on like the same itinerary. So, and sometimes you don't see them because they're on a different day of a festival. The Ghost Inside happened to be one of those bands that we were with them like I think 4 or 5 times, and they were sneaking into the green room, and they were just being funny as hell. I'm like, these guys are so
Great.
genuine and just good people. I didn't get to tell them though. I was just kind of like, I'm not a fanboy. I get when people want their personal space and shit, so I try to give them as much of that without them ever having to ask for it.
I'm sending this to them. They're gonna love this.
Let them know. Be like, dude, that shit changed my life, dude. It would.
So like growing up, what did you do? What did you like to do for fun outside of music? Were you like a good kid? Were you getting in trouble? Were you into skateboarding? Like, how old are you? What kind of era did you come up in?
I definitely was acting out a little bit. Whether I believe it or not, I definitely was. I know for a fact. I'm looking. We just shot this music video yesterday, and we were going back, and they were like, "All right, well, we're gonna tell like a little story of your life, so you kind of gotta like go back in your memory bank, and we're gonna go to your old town, and we're gonna shoot this video in your old town, and but we need this stuff to know what you actually did. Like, where were you? And I'm looking back at all this stuff while we're shooting, and I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I don't think I was the greatest kid in the world, which is fine. You can hell, like we made it. What the f***'s up? But I used to skate a lot. I used to love piercings. I used to do piercings for my friends. all of my piercings I'd done at the time. I had a shitload of them. I don't anymore, but I have scars all over my face from when I did have them. I used to I was an extreme sports kid is the things that I like doing on boards though. So I was like, I would skate. We would go longboarding, but we wouldn't go like cruise longboarding. We're like, let's go longboarding at like 50 miles an hour down a hill and then throw a crazy slide. And so we used to have like a little longboarding team, and it was like 20 of us. We got like sponsored by one of our local skate shops. And so we used to that was the shit, bro. It was like, wake up, somehow get through school, go skate somewhere because the town that I lived in was just covered in hills. It was hills galore everywhere. It was a nice, quiet little 1 mile town. So that was it. It was just like, get out of school, go smoke weed, go skate and get hurt, and then go to sleep, do it again the next day, listen to music. I used to listen to In Flames. This is why I break them up, because when I used to go skate alone and doing like all this shit that I shouldn't be doing, I always had like my, I don't even know, my iPod Nano, bro, when they just put the camera on the iPod Nano, and they were like, yo, new iPod, got a camera. Yeah, I was like, yeah. And I'm listening to In Flames on this thing. And that was all I did, was just listen to In Flames and skate around town. And then one day think I can skate over my iPod Nano and do a crazy trick, only to run over said Nano and blow the Nano up into smithereens. Listen, you do a lot of dumb shit growing up, but out of all the dumb shit, good things happened somehow, and we got here. So
you were like watching Jackass and like Viva La Bam and stuff. That was huge for me.
All day, baby. That was it. I was like, I remember watching the Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory and being like, I need that. And I'm still to this day, like, my brain is like, I don't know what I got to do, but I need to get like an $8 million warehouse that I definitely can't afford, and just find a way to make that into like my own fantasy factory. Because I mean, dudes, we know, us. We love just having all of our little toys and shit. I'm like, let's bring all of that to one place. But yes, we're very similar, I imagine.
Make it the band headquarters. I mean, that's so cool, and I can definitely sense that we kind of watched a lot of the same shit coming up. That's so cool. Do you remember the first show that you got to go to? What was it? That Warped Tour?
No, it was Motionless in White, Starland Ballroom, Sayreville, New Jersey. I was the first person online. I was that person. Now I go to shows and I see some people who are like there before I get there, and I'm like, what the heck? We just got here. Like, you're gonna be here for like hours. And then I think back, and that was literally me. I was that person. I showed up at like 2. The doors didn't open till like 6, 7, and I'm the first person on that line making all these friends.
And you were fascinated. You were like, you were like a super fan of metal. It seems like,
yeah. Of the things that I liked, I loved them. Like, I was fully absolved into it. Granted, there's still a lot of bands that like people are like, oh, Bam, and I'm like, nope. And they're like, what? Are you crazy, dude? I'm like, and I'm like, you know what? You're 100% right. They were probably huge. I knew the bands that I knew, and I knew them very well, and that was it. I missed a lot of bands, but of the ones that I liked, I loved them.
I think the reason I ask is because I find that like people who are really passionate about this, it doesn't surprise me that you're having the success you're having, because you can see like you really do give about what you're doing, and it shows. And I can also tell you're very charismatic, and I'm like trying to figure out like, okay, their music's amazing, but this guy also has extreme star power. And, I'm not trying to gas you up, but I'm like, okay, you're not as many people are as charismatic as you are. So that's very impressive. Do you remember the first time that, you started screaming? Like, how did you, because your voice is absolutely one of the strongest voices in metal right now. Your vocals are obviously very notorious at this point. You have an amazing voice. And when did that start to take hold for you that you could scream?
I don't know. Listen, I'm unlocking all the memories right now. You're talking about LimeWire, all this shit. Dude, I used to have For all the people that do or do not know, before there were Bluetooth speakers, you had to plug things in, and this was I had I think it was like a $40 iPod dock. It was so bad. It was terrible. I think it was this big. That Nano went on it. I was like, this is great. I'm broke. So is it loud? Yes. Does the audio quality suck? Absolutely. Yeah, we're good. And I used to have that in my bathroom, and I would just listen to music all the time, literally. And it was that new stuff that I just started getting into, which was like Lamb of God, all that stuff. I don't know when I transitioned into doing vocals. It was very much because at the time I was like, I just want to be a guitarist. That was it. I was so stoked with that. But at some point, I guess while I was just in I don't consciously remember starting vocals. I just remember at what age I was doing them. I don't remember. There was no guide at the time. There was only one guide. It was Melissa Cross's guide. And honestly, I was too broke because I'm a 16-year-old metal kid who's never had a job because I got all these piercings in my face. Like I can't afford all this shit. So it's just, I just remember just trying tribute. I don't even know. And then one day, that guy, that very dude who got me into all these new playlisted bands, I don't know how he heard me screaming, but apparently he heard me do a vocal, and he was just like, dude, honestly, not bad. And I was just like, really? Because I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just making sounds, I think, and I think it sounds good. And I don't know, ever since that day, it just like, it slowly became like the guitar became secondary, and then the vocals became primary. And then it was like, okay, well, now I'm never really playing the guitar. I'm kind of always doing vocals. I'm getting inspired by like All Shall Perish.
Yes.
All these. That's when I started moving onto like the more extreme version of metal. I started listening to Infant Annihilator like back in the day, and like I just wanted to see what everybody was doing and how Job for a Cowboy, how I could copy that and sound exactly like them. And that was my goal at one point, was just like, keep doing covers, keep doing copies, sound exactly like what they're trying to do. And then I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like slowly shaping my sound. I'm like, I'm learning a little bit about how this guy does vocals, which is a little bit different than the way that this guy does vocals. And then you need different parts of your voice for these other types of vocals. And then the more things that I'm doing, whether I'm aware of it or not, is the thing that we talk about in vocals, learning vocals all the time, is awakening sensations, finding out new muscles that you didn't even know were there. And a lot of people, like especially when you're learning vocals, you're like, I learned one scream. Great. That's my scream. I'm going to stay with that. And then that's fine. And they pigeonhole themselves into this little box. And I was never like satisfied with that. I've always been very competitive with everything that I've done. So I'm like, okay, well, let's find out what that guy's doing. Let's find out how to do that. And then let's find out how to do that. And now I'm at this point, and people always ask me, like, dude, how do you know how to like do all these sounds and shit? I'm like, I don't know. I just like, my brain knows where those muscles are and how to use them, because I think of all of the years of just hitting my head against the wall, learning what everybody else is doing.
What does your family think about the success you're having now? How they got to be so stoked.
They're stoked, but in the beginning, they were worried. I was talking to Dad yesterday about this because, like I said, we're doing the whole music video. It's very much about my dad and shit. And I was like, yeah, I know I was probably a pain in the ass as a kid. He was like, you were a pain in the ass. I was like, and it was just like, yeah, dude, like I was worried at one point. I was like, what the is this kid going to do with his life? And they were all well founded, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to make some money and just continue doing the things that I enjoyed doing. No, you never expect music to take off, because it's like you said, there's so many people that are just trying to make music. It has never been easy. It's never been so hard to just stand out in the group. And they're very stoked that everything has come full circle, for sure. It's all giddy. She's like, oh my God, somebody came up to me. They said, oh, are you Will Ramos' mom? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, Mom, you are so funny. Just live it up. Enjoy it. You birthed me. You deserve this. So
that's so cool. I'm so happy that they get to see the success you're having. I know they're so proud. And, so you were doing covers for a while, I guess. And is that how you kind of got into your first band? I think a lot of people really develop their their skill and their craft through doing covers online and like in the new kind of era of internet and all of that.
Definitely. I learned a lot, and by doing those covers, I was like, I could probably try and do some other stuff. Like, let's see if I can meet up with other musicians and do things. But earlier bands are so there. You learn a lot trying to be in a lot of local bands about how dedicated other people are to wanting to actually be a musician versus, oh, it's fun to be a musician. And a lot of the bands break up because if you would even consider them bands, you get a lot of your friends together. You're like, yo, we're going to do this. Hell yeah. And then you're like, all right, well, we're still doing covers. Are we ever going to make song? Maybe. And then one dude's like, I got to go to trade school now. Like, I'm an adult. And then we're like, okay, well, he's gone. And then that band falls apart. Now do that 10 times. You're like, I'm drained. But then, doing the covers, I will say, of, what was it? I think it was a Last 10 Seconds of Life cover. Long time ago. It was one of my first covers that I actually paid for. It was not a cover that I did in my bedroom with all my dirty socks and my bed that was like completely unkempt in the background, like screaming in this shit ass microphone with the worst sound quality. I'm like, I'm gonna pay somebody to record me. We're gonna get good audio. We're gonna get good video. His name is Eric DiCarlo. He actually ended up becoming an actual music video guy now. He actually shot into the Hellfire. He shoots for most people he used to shoot. I guess he doesn't do it so much anymore. Now he's in a band, but he used to shoot for a lot of bands in the New Jersey scene in the local area after that. And but anyway, going back is that cover. I remember somebody hit me up on Instagram from a band called Awaken Providence, and they were like, yo,
Heard of them.
We need to get a new vocalist. I saw you did this cover. Do you want to try, And this is after many, many failed bands and attempts. Obviously, I'd already done Secrets Don't Sleep as my actual first legitimate band, but like getting into the limelight and all of that all started when Awaken Providence hit me up and was like, yo, come join our band. AWIP was doing great at the time. We put out A Darkened Gospel. We go on tour with Lorna Shore. We meet Lorna Shore. That was how I kind of got my foot in the door in the first place. And then I left AWIP. I started doing other things, Monument of a Memory. And I guess Lorna this is like the full circle of everything. It's crazy. But Lorna just remembered, like, oh, we did that tour with Awaken Providence. Will wasn't that bad. Like, let's see if Will wants to try out. And here I am, baby. Made it.
Your first full-length record with them is Pain Remains.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like what a hell of a first album. And then obviously the new songs from the upcoming record are delivering. And so obviously this album was big for you guys, Pain Remains. Everybody loves it. And when did you figure out, like, in the process of either making that album or maybe perhaps after it was released, like, hey, we really got something here and this band is gaining a ton of momentum?
Honestly, I don't know. I think we all have imposter syndrome. So as far as I'm concerned, I still don't see it, but I'm just happy people are coming to our shows. I try not to think about it too much so I don't psych myself out. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if we'll hit a ceiling. If we've already hit the ceiling, it's just keep pushing through, bro. I don't know.
I love that mindset.
I think if you don't think about it, you don't change. People
Right.
change a lot when they get put in these weird situations, and they, it don't feel right to me. I don't see myself as anybody else other than I'm still in my shower screaming in a $20 iPod Nano. That was me. I still feel that way about myself.
Dude, I love that. I love your whole mindset. This is so impressive. And so obviously all the newfound attention, it didn't change you, it didn't affect you. I noticed, like, it seems like you're out like driving cars a lot and racing and stuff. Is that something you're into as well?
There's my old car right there. I just sold her. Rest in peace, Tracy. I miss you, Tracy. I got into I've always wanted to be into cars. All my friends were into it. I didn't have money. Again, I'm broke 16, 17, 18-year-old up until, I don't even know, 26, 27. Like, I'm like, I love cars, but too expensive. I can't hop into that. It's not my thing. And then as the band started to do better, I was like, I can't skate anymore. My body is from my knees. I'll skate for a little bit. My knees will start throbbing. I'll even feel it when I go on stage. The set ends. I need to get off the stage and put ice packs on my knees because they just feel so terrible.
Right.
And I need something else to just give me that. I told you I used to be like an extreme sport kid. Like I wanted that. I loved Red Bull. I loved Rockstar Energy. I loved all these crazy things that they were putting out. And that it feels like a part of me is missing because I couldn't skate for so long. And I remember I went one day, one of my boys hit me up, was like, do you want to come to the track one day? There's like a drifting event going on. And I was like, all right, let's see what is going on. And ever since that day, it's been a spiral, a terrible spiral of my wallet and just money just getting burnt into a crisp on dumb shit. But you know what? I think dudes are always going to spend money on dumb shit.
Of
It's
course.
just, where are you going to put it? So I'd rather put it in a dope car.
Look, you got to live your life to the fullest. I mean, what the do you work so hard for if you can't buy a dope ass car? I mean, come on.
Exactly, baby. So that's what we're trying to do out here. They're shooting, the Duper Fast and the Furious, the third one, the drifting one. He's shooting a movie over here 5 minutes away from my house about like the life of drifting and how it came into the States, how it started in New Jersey and it's spreading all over the place. I'm going this weekend, maybe it's going to be sick, locked in. I'm like, anything that I can do to get me back in the track.
I love that. It's amazing because you can see that, from my perspective, talking to you, it's like you identify things that you're passionate about and then you go 110% into them. A lot of people, they have these passions, but they don't actually throw themselves into it. And when you were describing like being in your early bands, when you're first starting out, it's like you're beholden to other people's work ethic. And it's frustrating when you want to spend like 8 more hours, like locking in on a song and somebody else is like, well, I got to go meet up with my girlfriend and, they got to split. That's definitely frustrating.
That's
so,
funny, bro.
After this critical acclaim success of Pain Remains, you have this new album coming out. You've got 3 singles out, and so far, I believe 3. And, how would you describe this record for fans who are so excited to hear this new album?
I would say that this record is the most human / Lorna Shore. I mean, it's just the realest version of almost honest version that we've ever had. We write a lot of music in the past trying to appeal to obviously what we want to do, but also half of what everybody else wants. And I think it was a big learning thing for us on this album to just be honest with ourselves. The music that we want to write doesn't have to be anything other than what we want it to be. And I think for a lot of people, that's really hard to accept. And I think it took us a long time to get there, but every song has its own identity. Every song has its own emotion. And we went 110% in everything. And we hope, I hope especially like these lyrics they're all real stuff. And I hope that it connects with somebody else out there when they're reading it and they're like, you know what? I feel that. I don't express that a lot, but I have been there before. And that'll make that song for them the most special song that they could ever listen to. I don't know. That's what I hope.
Well, I mean, obviously the new singles have been connecting. The music videos, man, they're out of this world. They're next level. I love how brutal they are and the like the horror imagery. I was just watching the latest one and I mean, it's got a great view count already too. And I think it's great that you're telling kind of your story in this new video that you shot, and we're going through all of this. The timing of that is perfect. And, once you're having the success in your band, you're actually doing this for real. The band is growing. You've got all this momentum. Is there anybody that you've gotten to meet, like that's a holy shit moment for you, as I like to say, that's like blown your mind?
Oh, absolutely. Meeting Anders Frieden from In Flames, bro.
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy. I mean, honestly, it's crazy because we also met Motionless and White and like, Chris Motionless and like the whole band. And I think back to that first show that I went to. And I also think back to when I was skating as a kid and all the bands I used to listen. It's just like all of the things that have happened over this last couple of years it's so surreal that it's almost like I still don't believe it.
Yeah.
It's just it almost also makes it hard to accept and just truly be like, hell yeah, we're doing something awesome, because I don't know, part of it doesn't even feel like it's real.
Well, I mean, I can just tell from your whole vibe, bro, that like you're in this for all the right reasons and you truly love what you do and you're passionate. And I think that's why you're successful. I really do. I always try to figure out like what makes an artist connect with as many people as they have. And it's a combination of the music is there, the voice is there, but also you really give about what you're doing. That's obviously apparent for me. Will, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I really appreciate this. And you are such a breath of fresh air in heavy metal and you love what you do. And I am so excited. One of my most anticipated albums of the year. I feel the ever black festering within me. By the way, how did you come up with that name? It's so out there.
Honestly, we ran out of time. We ran out of time, and we had a whole bunch of names written down. We were like, what's it going to be? It's going to be this, it's going to be this, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. That was just one of the darker lines, and we ended up liking it the most. And we said, hey, if we come up with a new one, we could try that. That might be better later. But we had our plate full with so many things that we were trying to just balance. And it got to the point where we were like, all right, today's the day. What's it going to be? This line specifically is from Prison of Flesh. It's still a deep line. It's very human. It has to do with everything that I've been talking about as far as how we wanted to represent the album. But it's still dark and spooky. And let's just run with it. Why not? And we know it's a long guy, but, Lorna Shore loves long names.
I think it stands out and it definitely grabs attention. And I don't think you're going to have any problem getting attention on this record. Will, thank you so much for making time to be here. I've wanted to have you on the podcast for a long time.
Thank you for having me, dude. I'm happy to be here.
Much love.